I searched high and low to get your contact information, and I was talking. I'll tell you off air who it is. I won't say it on camera, but feel free to ask me. Um, I
Yeah.
so I called the Mayweather gym, and they says, Fred, if I give you this number, you have to ask them this question. And I says, okay, what's the question? And they said, ask 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 Cameron Duncan, do Top Rank have like columns of fighters? And they say, we don't want this guy fighting the black fighter. We don't want this fighter fighting the Mexican fighter, and so on and so forth.
You're going to get into the racial stuff, huh?
No, I'm not. I'm asking.
Uh, that's a theory there by the greatest matchmaker, probably, in my opinion, ever.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not going to mention his name either, but you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
And he used to have a thing up on his board, NBF, no black fighters.
Uh-huh.
And when I was taught to bring up a fighter, you know, and again, it's just, he used to say to me, you can go anywhere in the country. And I'm going to leave it at this. I don't want to go into a long discussion because people are people in God's eyes, and we're all the same. He used to say to me, you can go anywhere into a city in America or anywhere in the world and ask a white guy, and he didn't say any other, he didn't say anything about Hispanic, anything. Ask a white guy to throw a jab, and half of them are going to turn backwards and throw it like a girl and everything. Ask any black man on a street corner in any city in the world, and they will snap out a jab in a heartbeat. And I used to laugh. He said, they're just more physically gifted. And he said, and so they have speed, and better to stay away from them. Nothing personal. So I said, okay. And I've lived by that. And, you know, I don't want to sound like some weird guy, but, you know, you're trying to be safe with your guys. And so, yeah, there is a thing about that, you know, but not in a bad way, in a very respectful way, you know, to be careful. So that's all.
How does that impact boxing? How does that, like the best fighting the best, you know, like the fans versus the business of boxing?
Well, they're not. That's when you're starting out and everything.
Okay.
So that's not affecting boxing at all. It's just, you know, when you're building a fighter, you know, you reach a point where the best have to fight the best.
Gotcha.
The only reason these fights aren't being made, Fred, is for politics and money and everything. It's not because of their color or who they are. Believe me, they want to fight each other and they want to make money. Okay. And you know, so those fights will happen. And it has nothing to do with race or anything else. It has to do with everybody getting along and making these fights happen. And you know, you gotta get along and you gotta make the fights happen. And right now there's fights that I know we'd all like to see. And it has nothing to do with anything as people. It just has to do with one promoter, you know, says, I need this much, I want that much, and manager, you know, trainer, you know, everybody wants to make a certain amount of money. And, you know, people are turning the fights down. They're not happening.
Yeah. And now
bad.
You're on the other side of it now, because now you have Jaron Ennis, and now Jaron Ennis looks like the best thing since sliced bread in boxing, right? How does that old mindset or current mindset, it greatly impacts Jaron Ennis in 2020? So how do you balance that duality in terms of now you're advocating for Jaron Ennis, and you know the business of boxing and or the mindset of boxing is to build everybody up until it gets to a point where it's combustion.
Right. And that's what Jaron's been doing. He's been perfecting what he would call his game. And, he was raised to be a fighter. His dad, I'm telling you, Bozy Ennis or Derek Ennis, whatever, he is as good a trainer as anywhere in the world. He's Kenny Adams type stuff. He is unbelievable. And he's raised his son and made a great fighter out of him. God gave him the ability, but he's perfected it. And got him. And being on this side of boxing, my job was to, build him up and keep him safe and protect him. And believe me, when these guys walk in the ring, you'll hear the stories if you ask me going in the bathroom, me going back to the locker room. Sometimes it's hard to watch them fight. You love these guys.
Gotcha.
Not all of them, but the ones you do.
It's
tough, Brad.
Gotcha.
It's hard to watch Ennis go
Uh-huh.
to the ring. It's hard to watch, a little Brandon with that little, he looks like a 12-year-old. My wife the other night when he knocked that kid out, she started bawling and she said, "I'm never going to watch boxing again." She's done with it. And she's been around it a long time. She just can't watch it. So, you love these kids, and it's not just about that. And I think every time when I'm making a fight, and I've never had anyone get hurt in 30-something years and thousands of fights, because I look at it like, they're the ones getting hit in the face, not me.
Right.
And you know that. And everybody wants to see a war. Everyone wants to see a great knockout like, Brandon did the other day. But we don't want to see anyone get hurt. We want them to get up. And, you're rooting for him like Ennis.
Gotcha.
He's so good. He is so good, brother.
I see it. I see it.
Oh, man. He is so good. And I can't wait to, unleash him and let him go. His dad and me. And, I go find the opponents, and his dad's like, "Whoever you want, Cam." He's just a great guy to work with. And yeah, I'm going to step him up, and I'm going to step Brandon up. But I want them to have every advantage to win. I want their physical strength and their manhood, and I want them and their dads, because they're both trained by their dads. I want them to say, "We're ready, Cam. We're ready to go. Let me know." And then I can start going a little bit. But till they tell me they're ready, I'm not going to push them into a bad position. So, I think, Jerron is going to be around a long, long time. He doesn't get hit. And he really wants to fight the best right now. And I'm going to try and make that happen. Again, if you've got all these good fighters and a guy like Jerron comes along,
sure,
and you think, I wonder if that guy can beat my guy. That can, why am I giving him a title fight? And, he doesn't have a big name yet. And I mean, I hear all this crap. And so I go and I raise more money and I ask for help. Steven Espinosa is great. He tries, financially. But these guys are saying, if I fight another bigger name, I'm going to make more money, and it's not as dangerous as Boots Ennis.
Gotcha.
And they know that. They're very smart. They're not stupid. And everybody can say, "Oh, he hasn't fought anybody and everything." But the other fighters are looking at him, Danny Garcia, all these kids, and they look at him and they go, I know he's real. And everybody up there is saying that to us. We know he's real. Forget that, and unless I can make huge money, I'm not going to give him a chance. And you can't blame them for that. I mean, but if you can,
they call it prize fighting. It's prize fighting, right?
Yeah, that's right. And if the public wants it, and everybody's writing about it, and you're talking about it, and, Steve Kim's talking about, everybody's talking, and they're like, do it. Well, then the money will grow, and people will start thinking about putting up money or buying it and pay-per-view, or a network's going to put up big money. the fight will happen on its own. So our job is to stay busy and keep fighting and winning and looking good, which she's looked terrific. And then, you know, they'll demand it. And when they demand it, it'll happen.
Gotcha. Well, you got a you got a big card December 12th. Is he fighting Clayton December 12th? Is Boots Ennis fighting Clayton?
No.
Oh, he's not gonna fight. He's not gonna fight Clayton.